Hello, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of the InstaHire Roundtable. So, InstaHire Roundtable is a concept where we have leaders and where we have ideas. This is a place where ideas and leaders meet. Today's agenda is very special. Today's agenda is how to align candidates to your vision, to your company vision from day one. And before we start, a little bit about InstaHire. We are a platform which uses technology, AI, ML, NLP, which allows companies to find talent with 10x more accuracy and 10x less time compared to any other solutions in the market. So we work with companies like Google, Amazon, Walmart, Cisco, Geo. Yeah, we have Alteryx, Porter, and LeadSquared. We have PayPal, we have Salesforce, we have a bunch of other companies. Like we work with around 10,000 plus companies. And today we have three of the leaders of very well-known brands. So without much ado, I would like to call upon Thangaraj. Thangaraj is the VP of Global Culture and Talent at LeadSquared. So welcome, Thangaraj, and you can introduce yourself and what LeadSquared is doing. Quite interesting thing. So yeah, over to you, Thangaraj.
Okay, very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for your introduction and thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak in this forum. Yeah, my name is Thangaraj. People call me Thanga. I've been in the industry for close to 17 years. Basically, I've been an engineer, written codes in my life, and worked in organizations like Informatica, App Dynamics, Walmart, and Unifor, and currently with LeadSquared. So majority have been spent time on the organization on the growth space, and I think that's my strength. That's largely about myself. And I joined LeadSquared 5 months ago. It's been a very interesting journey. And it's a lot of excitement to work with co-founders. And LeadSquared, it's a known brand, definitely. And if you don't know LeadSquared, we as a company, we are into sales automation SaaS platform. And we have more than 2,000 plus customers working with us. And the interesting about LeadSquared, in this tough time, we've been funded $153 million as a Series C. And it's been very interesting to work with all the founders. We are a unicorn, taking the company to global. And I'm sure, we are very confident will grow between $1 billion to $100 billion evaluation. So that's about LeadSquared. I'll take a pause now. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Thangaraj. Now we have Aniket. Aniket leads talent acquisition, DGM of talent acquisition at Porter. So over to you, Aniket, and a little bit about yourself and Porter.
Sure. Thanks, Sarkojit. Firstly, thank you for giving the opportunity to be part of this roundtable conference. And I must say, I completely agree to what you said about InstaHire. It is one of those platforms which is always given results, right? Now, talking about myself, so I carry about 12 years of experience, predominantly talent acquisition. I've worked in the startup space from 2010 onwards. So I've been part of Boxit, I've been part of travel tech called Gumo. Last 5 years, I was with Simplilearn. And in this August, I joined Porter. As you rightly said, I'm heading the talent acquisition team here. Porter is at a crucifix of entering a hyper-growth journey. So we are, currently doing about 16 cities in India, one international city at Dubai. This is going to rapidly move to 50 plus cities in India and multiple international locations. Porter, as a logistics company, obviously it is in the last mile logistics, but you've kind of had multiple, kind of new products added to it. And the vision is to become an super logistics app company. So anything related to logistics is where Porter should step in. Currently as well, we have house shifting, we have courier services, intercity, four-wheeler categories, three-wheeler categories, two-wheeler categories, etc. Right? And Porter ultimately is trying to disrupt an unorganized sector into an organized sector. So that's where technology comes in from our perspective, right? So that's where
Great. Welcome, Aniket, to the roundtable. Now we have Chhavi. Chhavi is the senior manager, people and culture at Alteryx. And Chhavi, over to you. A bit of introduction about yourself and about Alteryx. So yeah, over to you, Chhavi.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Sarvajit, for the invite, and really nice to meet Aniket and Thangaraj and finding some of the common points from where we've worked and the leaders that we have supported. So, a little about myself. I've been working in HR for about 12 years now, and I've exclusively worked with startups. I really enjoy this energy, the chaos, and how fast things happen here in the startup world. So, I've been here for some time, and right now I'm working with Alteryx. So we were formerly known as Trifecta. Trifecta got acquired by Alteryx this year in Feb 2022. So Alteryx is something which is like really revolutionary in terms of the data space. We are providing analytics for all. It's very simple and easy to use for anyone who's even not a data engineer or a data scientist, someone who do not know how to code. So it's kind of a low code solution available for anyone to analyze their data and get out amazing findings from it. So it's been a really wonderful journey to take our team through getting Trifecta settled up in India, and then taking our team through the acquisition journey. But all through this one thing has been constant was the support from InstaHire team. I think the day we started Trifecta in India, the very first thing to hire people was to sign up our team on InstaHire. And we've been still using it, and we've got some incredible hires through that. So yeah, Sarvajit, thanks for this amazing product for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for the encouraging words. So, without much ado, welcome to our Insta Roundtable, all these speakers, all the leaders. And we have a lot of people who are listening to you. And without much ado, let's start off the questions. So, we have a bunch of questions. Like the first question, which I want to ask. So, Chhavi, you can go first, is the power of storytelling. So in candid engagement, we have seen that the power of storytelling has been one of the most important, crucial aspects, right?
Right.
And it has helped companies scale. So when you see startups, which when we were a startup, like 4 or 5 people doing something which is out of the world, and then we come together and then we start storytelling, and then we get people to join our mission, and right now we have become big. But at that point of time, that storytelling, that candid engagement was a very important part. So how does it help, like according to your experiences, how does it help you to engage candidates, or your team to engage candidates, and how you help them?
Sure. And yeah, wonderful question. And I think personally, I like telling stories, have heard stories from childhood, and these are some of the memories that you will always retain, that you've heard some story and you want to know more about it. When it comes to selling anything, I think anyone in sales and marketing and everyone, they have to sell the product by telling what that product is and what that product does. When it comes to company, I think the same thing applies here. When we are kind of convincing anyone to come and join our organization, we have to kind of tell them what they are coming for, what they are joining for. So this story is really very important. It has to be precise, it has to be interesting, it has to be unique. So that has really helped in getting this attention and letting the candidate know, hey, you are coming for something very interesting, you will be part of the story. So I'll tell you from example, like when we started with Trifecta, our story was pretty simple, that we are starting something which is in the data wrangling space, very unheard of. The product itself was being built by academic people, the researchers at Stanford, and was kind of put open source for anyone to use. That was like kind of a hook to people. Those who develop these products for the data workers, they really liked that story. They kind of related to it. So finding that common ground between the people that we are hiring and the people that are looking for jobs with us was very key for us. So in our stories, we always used to make sure that we highlight the points which we know are going to be the ones which the people or our targeted audience are looking to hear from. So most of our stories are around that, and of course, story can't be great unless it has some personal touch. So
That's right.
anything which is great about the culture, which is great about the workspace, the environment, the people that they are going to work with. So all of these characters definitely feature in our stories, right from the onboarding experience to right from the leaders that they are going to work with. So this has actually helped to make candidates understand what they are signing up for, and once they are here, what part they'll be contributing towards this story. And it's easier way to communicate your mission and vision without any heavy jargons. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this has been really wonderful to do that.
Okay, great. So I'll come to Aniket on this. Aniket, Chhavi has told that they target, like they have a target user, and then it's more of personalized storytelling to people who understand this high tech stuff which they're doing. And what about, like, what is your story? Like, how do you like tell your team, your juniors, or maybe your team members how to engage candidates? So as we see that the funnel efficiency is quite less in TA, talent acquisition, especially in tech, it's actually quite less. So engagement should be from like -1. Like whenever they get a call or they get a mail, that should be the start, the point level where they start. So what is your thing? How do you gauge this? Like, how do you see the power of storytelling, and any examples which you can?
Absolutely. See, it is the only way to differentiate yourself from the multiple companies that might be reaching out there, right? And see, honestly speaking, top tech talent, they're going to be definitely at least 5 to 10 companies reaching out to them at a given point whenever they think about, or even if just not making a change, they just think about making a change, right? So how do you separate yourself is through the power of storytelling, right? And you're absolutely precise when you say it has to start from a -1 when you are reaching out to them, or maybe they've applied and you're giving them a first call, right? How do you ensure that this is not a regular role? How do you keep them excited about what they're entering is going to be an experience for them, right? What are we trying to solve? It could be a plethora of things that we're trying to solve, from scaling issues to disruption to innovation to maybe bolstering your space in the market, so being aggressive, being the top dog there. It could be about binding a way of solving the same problem that has not been approached differently, right? So it could be any of those problem statements. So how do you bring that problem statement to the fore for the candidates to understand, right? Yes, I mean, basic hygienes about designation, compensation, all of those play a part. But as I told, those are basic hygienes, right? They're not going to take you to the right candidate, and the right candidate is not going to join you because of those aspects. You need to have a story aspect to it, and right. And because I've worked with a lot of leadership roles in the last 2 or 3 years, I can tell you it works across levels. It is not only about leadership roles. It is also about mid management. Is also about individual contributors. They all want to be part of something that tells great success or great challenges or a great story in general, right? So you want to be part of that story and success and be a character in that, right? How do you show them that you're going to be part of that is a very, very critical piece of reaching out and getting the right candidates on planet. So
Great.
So that's all.
Okay, that great insights. So I would like to come to Thangaraj. Thangaraj, you have worked in companies like very large organization, and now you have been working with companies who are very high growth. So they're like startups, unicorns, and then you have very large enterprises. So how does the storytelling tell up, like be differentiated in both kind of organization, and how do you think it helped in engaging? How do you teach your like juniors or your team members on this?
Okay, actually, the topic was about how do we align candidates to your vision from day one. So I just wanted to slightly tweak it, saying, uh, how do we get aligned to the candidate vision first?
Okay.
Right. So I think that's what I start with, right? So because I see recruitment as a sales, because definitely what is the difference we are going to make it to the individual who is going to talk to us, either we talk to them or they talk to us, right? Either of that, right? So,
Mhm.
so what is that we are trying to achieve? And as an individual, what is the difference I'm going to make in a way the person is going to be benefiting,
Mhm. Okay.
right? So that's what the initial discussion is all around. Then if that is an intention to put, then everything, hey, is all about like, how do we execute it, right? So that's when I just want to start with. And for example, the success story of LeadSquared, right? So why did I came from a unicorn to another unicorn, right? Unifor, which is a unicorn, and again LeadSquared, right? So if I talk to any candidates, okay, hey, we are building a software, we are the leaders in CRM, which is going to help customers increasing their efficiency of the sales, which is major of their revenue. Would you be proud, or you have a pride to say, okay, hey, I'm impacting customers' revenue, right? So which is everybody's motivation to increase the revenue, right? So, and that's what a product is all about, right? So and when you do efficiency in the sales team, and what else you want to do, right? So that's what the pitch to start with, right? So because how many places you get an opportunity to help somebody to increase their revenue, right? So that's what the pitch, and if that is there, uh, definitely any individual who has an intention in terms of what would be their expectations and so on, definitely you know them from the day one, right? So you automatically see them coming for you. It's okay. Everybody cannot be to your visionary, but when you start with, please ensure that you are very clear on why that individual is talking to you, right? So, and please ensure that what what kind of difference you're going to make, right? So definitely, to me, contacts itself is lifetime, right? So it's okay, person may not work with you, but when you talk to the person, I think that's going to be a lifetime. So we have to be little diligent, and we have to be very much thorough on, we treat candidates as a customer, and I'm sure everything will fall in place. I'm sorry, I've taken a little time. I always see candidate as a customer, right? So I'm sure you know how to fulfill them. So by default, you'll do everything possible. I'll take a pause.
Sarvajit, on mute, I guess.
Yeah, hi. So nice insights on the power of storytelling, and we move on to the next question. I have Aniket. So Aniket, I want to ask this question to you first. Broadly, we can divide people like who are joining a company as, say, leaders or collaborators. So the leaders will be the one who will be managers, or maybe individual contributors, but at some point in time they will lead a team, right? And both are very mission critical, right? What has been the approach, like what has been your approach or your team's approach, or what you have seen as an approach to get these two groups are motivated by entirely different things, right? How to motivate these two, and how to identify first that this guy is a leader or collaborator, because no one will tell you, so you have to understand. And then how do you get them motivated? So it's very, very difficult, but yeah, I wanted to understand from you first, and then we can get Thangaraj and Chhavi. Yeah,
definitely. You're absolutely right. Personality ways, if I have to put them in two sides of a coin, it could be a leader or a collaborator there, right? See, certain times what happens is your role itself will demand either of those qualities. So you will kind of identify talent accordingly, right? And sometimes the role might be okay with either one of them coming on board, but the way the candidate has looked at a vision, right? The way he understands how do I want to take it to the next step as a team, as an org, as an individual, or how do I expand the breadth of the product or business line or category of aspects, right? That sometimes gives you hint in terms of where do they fall into the picture. It is their ambitions. How do they want to see themselves going forward in future? it is the intent, what they want to do with their career in future. That's kind of be bifurcated, right? But again, there'll always be a gray areas, there'll always be overlapping aspects, right? A great leader can be a great collaborator, a great collaborator still can be a great leader, right? So there is no black and white separation for them. But when it comes to getting them focused, getting them engaged, getting them driven to what you want to do from, let's say, day one, first week, or first month, it is about you yourself knowing where it has to go, and then letting that person decide how to go there, right? So, so as a management, as HR folks, I think the best thing that we can do is we can tell them that this is the vision that we have. You run with that vision, right? You decide what needs to be done there. You come back and let us know, what works, what permutation to go back. Is there an A/B testing required there? Is an experimentation required there? Is a different approach required there, right? And sometimes they might just come back and say this vision is not validated. We might have to go to a different chart. Let them do that as well, right? That's the kind of freedom that you want to give them, the responsibility that you want them, and just show them that you have that when you come on board for that role or that org or that company, right? If we're able to do that, right, it kind of usually gets them engaged enough and excited enough to be there. But again, there are a lot of things behind it, right? You have to judge the skill sets are right or not, the motivations are right or not, the cultural fitment is right or not. Obviously, basic hygienes of compensation and all of those also come into picture, right? Yeah. So all of that has to be evaluated at the interview stage. Post interview, I think the discussions is more towards, as I do, right, vision, and get them, understanding. Let them start thinking about those vision before they come in, right? Let them know that this is what we want to do, and let them come back with a game plan of, let's say, first 30, 60, 90 days, what they want to do, right? And then kind of refigure and let them know, based on resources, vision, kind of aspects, etc., that we can kind of realign on that. But it's just giving them freedom, giving them clarity is most important there.
Okay. So as per your discussion, like intent and autonomy is one of the two things which you think. So over to you, Thangaraj. So Aniket has talked about like intent, autonomy, motivation. What do you think about, like, if you divide people into, like, say, leaders and collaborators, and how what is your approach, or what has been the approach of your team, which have worked in various teams, to get these groups onboarded and motivated from the day one?
Okay. If you see, the detailing out is very important when we engage with every individual, be it leader, a collaborator, or to me, like I mean, many of the times we all know leaders or collaborators. In fact, to me, like corporate colleague is a collaborator. That's what I start with, right? So, because every colleague should be collaborators, right? So, yeah. Detailing out is very, very important, and I feel more than empowerment, I think enabling is the right word. We all have to look after, right? So because I mean, there is no right or wrong thing, but definitely when you evaluate as an organization with certain parameters, and you trust that person is going to help the organization to get you the vision. Obviously, like it has to be enabled, right? So because if that is there, the person knows the vision which the organization has it, right? For example, I'll give you LeadSquared, right? So the founders are very, very clear. Always they want a change, and that can only happen, when you have an acceptance, right? So I have a pride to say for a LeadSquared to start with. So I always have this tagline. So we follow the culture of co-founder to co-worker, right? So basically, our co-founder to co-worker, or you can say co-worker to co-founder, right? So, so everybody try to enable each other, so that I, as a leader, I don't need to motivate you, because the power of vision we have it for this organization, right? So then the motivation factor itself, it comes from within, right? So tell me, like, who can motivate better than myself for myself, to me,
Hmm.
And the best person can motivate myself, right? Because I know what can motivate me, right? So I think our culture itself, to begin with, enable people,
Hmm.
right? So because when that is there, always you don't need to be motivate any individuals, whomever joins maybe in the initial time, because I got pretty much uh, excited with the energy of the company, right? So LeadSquared, I kept telling to my founders always, okay, hey, I think this is a lot of energy we have it. I just like this energy and I come to office every day, right? So,
Okay.
I really feel detailing out and enable people. I think this will automatically come because I just want to repeat it again. Two things. Hey, follow your co-founder has to be your co-worker,
Hmm.
and we are the best person to motivate us.
Great. So self motivation and the leadership.
That's something like I strongly believe.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
okay. Thank you, Thangaraj. Like quite detailed insights. Chavi, over to you. Like, what do you think about like what you have approached or your team members' approach on this, like onboarding leaders and collaborators?
Right. I think most of the points have been covered, from autonomy, intent, motivation, enablement, culture. So I'll just add my two bits over here. I think, like you mentioned, both the people are mission critical, whether they
Yeah.
are collaborators or whether they are coming in as leaders.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's pretty easy to identify who's going to be a leader because the role itself is like a manager or a people leader.
Mhm.
But over the period of time, inside the organization, there is always growth available wherein you can choose to be an individual contributor or you can choose to be a people leader. So from day one, I think the instead of separating them into two different buckets, the unifying factor should be your company's goal or vision or the roadmap. That's what they should find themselves driven to, and eventually they are the ones who are going to drive it forward, so they should relate to it the most. So as part of their onboarding, this would be the common underlying factor to take them through what this organization, what this company, and what are all of us stand for. And then of course you have to get into a little bit of things which are very specific into nature depending upon the role of the person. Now you can't do a similar onboarding for anyone coming into HR, marketing, sales. You have to do a very specific function related onboarding for them, so you
Mhm.
need to plan accordingly. And when it comes to leader, while you have given them a roadmap, but you also need to give them a very wholesome information. Hey, before you joined this amazing enterprise, what has happened so far, what we have achieved so far, and what are we looking forward to achieve. So they really need to know not just about their function. Maybe the leader is coming in sales or engineering, but they really need to know as a business what we are doing, where we are, what's the heat map of the entire organization. But when it comes to an individual contributor, they would be more interested, like say for example they are into engineering, they would be more interested into, oh, what sort of features we have developed so far in the product, what's upcoming, what can we do, and let's see what are our competitors doing. So their bend of mind is also pretty different,
Mhm.
so we need to customize some of the onboarding as per that, instead of sharing I mean, like all the things together. So as long as it's custom, it's it has common underlying factors on all of these aspects. I think that'll be the key to make sure that all of these people are motivated from day one and they know what they are doing. And of course, there are programs which go from 30, 60, 90, and maybe
Yeah.
till the time they are in the
Yeah.
organization, they keep learning. But the initial few days are the key in making sure that they know what they are here for. So yeah.
Great. So, Chavi, I like do agree with you on the
Yeah.
customized onboarding of leaders.
Yeah.
So, in the last one of the webinars which I had Gautam Ghosh is one of the HR influencers, and
Yeah.
he told me when he was working with Flipkart, and Flipkart onboarded a very prominent industry veteran, and who is now into US. So I would not name that individual, but they had to do a lot of customization in terms of the social media marketing and how they project, and all these things happen. So yes, I definitely agree with you on this. So moving on, Thangaraj, I would like to understand. So in this times, we see a lot of innovation taking place, like innovation in terms of candidate engagement, post offer, pre offer. Okay, and would love to hear from you. What are the some of the things which you have done, or some live cases which you have been part of, or which you have initiated, or which you have seen going through?
Okay, thank you. So actually, we have three situations now to compare. We have pre-COVID, we have COVID, we have post-COVID.
Okay.
Right. So people say problem, I say opportunity. People say difficult, I say opportunity. People say it's tough, I say an opportunity. So your opportunity, maybe I don't want to say it has to be innovation, but definitely wherever you get an opportunity, try to make things better, right? So what is the learning? We have made best practices of pre-COVID, right? So almost we know a situation because we have seen recruitment 2.0, you can call it as, which is computerized hiring, or we can see digitalized hiring. So we know the solutions, or we can bet on solutions. But COVID has given a great opportunity for all of us to make us to do better. That can be called as innovation. And we were able to do it. There was no case studies to look after it and so on. But before we find a solution, and we got post-COVID, right? So then hybrids, in between working from home. So basically, I think these two are a great learning, and it's an opportunity for all of us, entire industry. Still, I would be very happy to discuss with somebody. Okay, hey, said I have a solution for this, because we all are trying, to do the best, right? So what has worked? Definitely, I strongly believe anything you want to make it result oriented, maybe you can try, but if you want to make it efficient, you have to follow some process.
Okay.
Right. So because then you can't get anything consistent, right? So how does it should be consistent and increment, right? So that is our focus, right? So then obviously there has to be a process, right? So maybe I'll take a little more time. What is the past? How did I win pre-COVID? Okay, I ensure that I meet the person, so that like I know the persona of person, what he or she wanted, and so on. Okay, how do I do that technically, right? So how do I do that with the digital, right? So maybe I don't have an opportunity 100%. Okay, so then what worked for me, I'll try to keep that as a strength. Okay, I try to follow the same. Is it possible? I get to see the person. Okay, hey, this is the reason a person is talking to LeadSquared for an opportunity. Okay, then you put it as a process, right? So to talk to the team. Okay, hey, this is, we make it possible. Whomever is interested, not interested, make it as pre-offer. And when you see a person has accepted the offer, let's say post-offer engagement, again, I think Aniket talked about 30-60. So I have been followed 30-60 for joining, right? So basically, we have created the responsibility for each and every individual. Okay, hey, how do we welcome as a family, as a company, right? So, like for example, if I go to some houses, I'm sure my aunt will ask me about how is my health. My mom will be asking about how was my travel, and other person will be talking about, okay, how are my studies, right? So each and everybody will be caring about one or other things about myself because they know me well, right? So like that, we have created the responsibility each and everybody. What is the responsible to be given to hiring manager, HR, in information technology team. So what are the things the person will be comfortable? So we have shared the responsibilities. So in that way, you are closely, empathizing as a family member. Somebody is coming to the organization,
Okay.
right? So that has worked on that better for me to get the results.
Okay.
Um, Over and above what we also looked after it, okay, we started identifying people date of birth. I think in India you can ask people. So if we see in that 30, 60 times their birthday comes,
Mm-hmm.
so we want to send the gesture for their birthday. At least, okay, hey, a flower or cake. I think those are all value the people a lot, is my understanding. But I don't want to say it is the solution. But I see it is varied a lot, right? It's produced a results to us. So
Understood.
again, definitely welcome the people as a family member. That they should feel it, right? So because then only it can only happen, but that can happen by a process. To me, I strongly believe that is applicable. You follow a process. It's okay. It's not right or wrong, but when you find your value to achieve, I think until keep trying. So I think I believe in the process of pre-offer and post-offer is something helped me, and that's my experience.
Okay, thank you, Thangaraj. So, Chavi, how do you see this like innovations in candidate engagement, post offer and pre offer in your in your company or maybe other companies? So, what are your thoughts and like what are the any use cases which you can like
Sure.
throw? Yeah.
Sure. And I think it has changed so much during this time where we were kind of the first movers. All of us were first movers to adapt to hiring during the COVID times. So, like everything from pre-offer, post-offer, and even the onboarding had become virtual at this point of time. So, I think a couple of things that companies have started picking up on is making sure that they are celebrating, like Thangaraj explained, celebrating the individual that they are going to hire, finding ways to make sure that we let them know that they are important and we are looking forward to have them in our team and our family, and kind of imbibing that culture into them even before they have joined in. So that has actually helped a lot in terms of engaging these candidates and maybe reducing this dropout rate that is always a constant these days, but making sure to give them the due importance, the due attention has been a key. And it was done in different formats. We used to send like company goodies. We used to send like something right after they have accepted the offer. There is a gift basket that's going on. But then COVID came in, shipping was a problem and everything was like that. So we realized in those times that I think more than anything, people are trying to find common grounds and relate with people. So we started doing these social calls. And these social calls usually were for the candidates who have accepted the offer, but they're sitting at home, they are bored watching whatever is there in numerous, television, media, Netflix, and all. So let's just do a social call, talk about the game, talk about the series, talk about life's harsh realities, right from cooking and cleaning the house that they are going through. And I think giving that platform to let them bond as people, even though there is no office, I think that helped a lot. That's the post-offer scenario. In pre-offer scenario, I think a lot of times people need some more clarity to decide whether they have to go with this offer or not. So for us, what has worked is whenever we arrange a conversation with the hiring manager or anyone inside the team, even though all the interview rounds have happened, but then if they can walk them through the role that they are doing and the role that we are expecting the candidate to take up, that has actually has been helpful. And we usually conduct this survey if someone joins in, like, how was your entire experience right from interviewing to joining us. This was one of the things that got highlighted, that you provided me an opportunity to talk to my team members and my hiring manager about my role even before I said anything to you. So you were pretty transparent about the role, you were pretty transparent about sharing who's going to be my buddy. So I think these kind of a things, innovation doesn't really need to be very complicated or technical. I've found it as simple as possible, and something which we can follow as a process throughout. So, yeah.
Great, lovely examples, Chavi. Aniket, your thoughts on this? Any kind of I've talked to a few HR leaders like before, and they told that COVID has given us a kind of a level playing ground. So right now, like I have a very good say gymnasium in office or like table tennis court in office, but I can't go to office, right? So, and also the startups, they might be working out of an apartment or maybe like a lease space, smaller space, but right now they are all on the level playing ground. So yeah, so there comes the challenge on how to engage them. So yeah, Aniket, so over to you, your thoughts on this.
Sure. I'll take a step back. It doesn't start at offer. It actually
Yeah.
starts when you touch base with the candidate, to bring them to the interview process till you reach that offer, right? So I think so. It's common kind of complaint for all HRs and talent acquisition, right? They've ghosted me. I don't get feedbacks. Nobody's responding to me. I say if and it's humanly not possible to respond to everybody, but certain level of engagement during that process as well. And I'm sure everybody goes through a phase where all interviews are not going to be in a jiffy. There'll be some difference of opinion, availability issues, logistics nightmare, and all of those comes into picture, right? So I think so during that phase, how do you engage with that candidate on an individual level as a recruiter, as a company, makes a lot of difference. Which gives you value at the end when you're talking about post offer engagement, right? It's also about how are you preparing them for next interviews, right? Okay, so and again, interview is a two-way process, right? It's not only you evaluating candidates. The candidates are going to evaluate, whom I spoke to. Is he my peer? Is he my hiring manager? What's been his philosophy? How did he ask me question? Was the tone right? Was the questioning too fierce? All of those plays a factor, right? So I think so when you're able to bring candidates to speed and you give them insights, what are we going to evaluate here? Who's the person that is going to evaluate? What is his personality? Why is he, going to go on the questioning line? And so that genuinely gets the candidate excited about your opportunity per se, right? And then obviously offer discussion and post offer starts. See, once the candidate accepted the offer, I think so it is now you've already done half the job, right? Now it's about how do you keep the momentum that you've built so far till the conversation, right? It's told that you have a great culture. He might have seen snippets of it. How do you shape a larger picture of that? And like Chhavi, talked about during COVID times, all of those sessions, right? And you can just let them be part of a lot larger town hall session, a larger open forum discussion session, team bonding sessions. Now post COVID, I think things have opened up, so a lot of offsites are happening. Maybe you can involve them there. A lot of individual touch bases like Thangaraj just talked about. Now look at their birthdays, look at their anniversary dates, anything that is personalized to them, and we can kind of touch upon that, right? Or even if it's just gone by and you missed it, right? You can just go out and talk. What did you do for that, right? If we recently missed it, and what was the conversation? It could be a conversation, it could be a goodie, it could be an experience. But try and get that to an individual level. That's very important, right? And like you were pointing out, right? Now office infrastructure has gone out of the window during the COVID and post-COVID, right? I can't go back and say I have a spanky office. I have Xbox in my office. That really doesn't add value now. But a lot of your soft aspects, right? Your people aspects, your culture aspects, the way team interacts, the collaboration between the teams. And all teams are actually in different journey, right? Certain teams are in 0 to 1 journey. Certain teams are in a journey where they've established and now they want to scale. So 1 to 100 journey. Certain teams are where they are, kind of in probably somebody who's been dominant and they're kind of, empowering that going forward for next steps, right? So attrition there. So how do you get that cultural vibe also given to that candidate so they know what they're entering to? Because, certain companies would always have different elements. And there'll be always, sort of nuances in those teams also that they're getting it, right? So how do you give them that as well? So overview, large picture, nuances, let them know the team, the hiring manager, the individuals that they're working at a personal level, right? When you're able to do that, right, I think so your post offer also improves a lot. It doesn't give you 100% result, but it improves a lot.
Great. Right? Also, what do you think about courses and trainings? Like I've seen a lot of HR leaders also tell me that this is one of the major aspects where we given them courses so that they can learn about things and then they like genuinely help them to like increase their efficiency.
So I'll give you an example, right? So I'll not name the company, but one of
Yeah.
the companies, they had to push their freshers batch probably on by another 3 months,
Okay.
right? Now that makes freshers definitely jittery. I was supposed to be onboarded July. Now it's
Exactly.
gone to October. What is happening, right?
Uh,
So that company came up with a very good idea: is that we're going to give you resources. We have identified that you're good at probably Java, C, all your basic programming, right? But our requirement is MERN and mean time, right? So why don't you go out, get yourself certified in these 3 months? We will pay for your certification. You go out there. We will give you live projects. We'll give you somebody who's going to be part of that, so that your upskilling process is already started, right? Secondly, and as I told you, transparency and connection, right? So a lot of times that trustworthiness and transparency comes. See, no candidate is going to be perfect, right? And no company is going to be perfect. There's always a mix and match to it. So you know that, okay, you've got a candidate which is 80% meeting your criteria, 20% is where he might have to do a lot of, you can say learning curve in the initial 3 6 months. Maybe the notice period is a good time to let them know, these are the couple of points that we've identified. We'll work with you in the notice period on 60 days or 30 days to see, what we can do about all of those aspects, so that you hit the ground running when you're coming in, right? And the candidates being genuinely valued. Okay, it's not only I've got selected or rejected, but I've got an honest feedback also. What is good for me and what is the areas that I need to improve, right? So those areas are, I think, so very important in terms of recent time frame to kind of help them, get engaged with the company.
Great. So, lovely insights from you guys. Also, now we move to the next question. I think, Chhavi, we can start with you first. One of the most crucial aspect post COVID was empathy. So in all the candidate communication, all the when the employer is talking to a candidate, communication, it's basically about empathy, and it's not about you, the candidate. It's about also when we are working from home, a lot of things are involved with the family, health issues and all these things, and so family also gets involved in this, right? So empathy is not about only the candidate. It was basically only the candidate first, only the employee. Right now it's the family, health. Okay. And also there is diversity. So companies are vying for more and more diverse candidates, not only on the basis of gender, but also on the basis of different things like sexual preferences, mental health, and there will be from other backgrounds. Like a lot of people are getting hired from who are army vets, military vets are getting hired. So empathy in communication has been one of the major aspects which we have seen a large change in empathy. So what do you think on this? What is your thoughts on this change in drastic change in communication, and how empathy has become a very crucial aspect on this candidate communication part?
Sure, Sarvaji. Then I think it's a very important question for HR professionals. The very thing that we get hired on is how empathetic can you be, because
Yes.
you have both business to support and partner with, and you have employees to partner with. So you have to be really at your core someone who can empathize with both the scenarios and kind of find a right balance in between them. So empathy has always been important, but it has come into forefront more during the COVID times, because we were going through some situation and the other person was also going through something similar or different. So how much we can relate to it, how much we can find some sort of common ground to speak about it and make them feel comfortable. I think that is what was more crucial in these times, and becoming all sort of diverse these days. And I think this COVID has kind of helped with that, is what I feel, because earlier we were limited to our own city. We were hiring in this city.
Yeah,
Now there is remote work available. You can hire people across countries. You can hire people across
the globe.
geographies. And then you are connecting with people where you may not have worked and you don't know about the culture. So this empathy kind of lets you be open to what they are, what their beliefs are, what their values are, understand from them, and then build it upon it and figure out how you can make sure that their experience in your organization is meaningful. They have all the right opportunities for growth, and they feel one with the vision, one with the team that they are working with. So it's really very important. And all the people in our team that are working with, we do have courses available on it, and we we took the time during the COVID times to make sure people go through this content and understand how important it is to be empathetic, not just to the people that we are hiring, but the people who are inside the organization at the same time, because retaining them is also very important. If they start feeling that people have become insensitive to my needs or are not understanding the scenarios that we are in, so that would be really, not it will be really drastic and not helpful for the organization. I do remember a case wherein we offered someone, and the candidate was really excited about joining us, and suddenly due to COVID they lost someone in the family, and the candidate couldn't console themselves because they were pretty close with that person, and then they had to join the organization. The joining was in 2 days. So as an employer, you have to be in your right frame of mind to understand what they're going through, give them this long rope, and help them go through something which is very difficult personally. I think these kind of experiences people value a lot, and then they come back to you because they felt that you have connected with them in their moment of need. So yeah, I think that's what I would say is crucial.
Yeah, understood. Thank you, Chhavi. Thangaraj, so what are your thoughts on this, like empathy becoming a very crucial aspect of our communication, even like as Chhavi has pointed out, like not only external but internal also?
Yeah, I think first of all, I'm very happy to see. I don't know. First time in the COVID time only, when I write an email to anyone, I first write, "Hope everybody is staying safe and healthy."
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So it's so personal, right? So how many times in the offices we used to ask everyone, "Okay, hey, hope everybody is safe." To start with, earlier we used to say hi, hello, then we go with our agenda. So that is actually very, very positive, no? Because we care for each other, right? So I think that's something like I see as a very positive sign. I mean, more than empathy, I think, okay, hey, we care for people, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay, whatever it is, we care for you. That's how to start with. And to me, this also told people, okay, hey, if I talk to you, you're associated with organization, you're not associated with our organization. Irrespective of anything, you talk to me, I hold you. Right? So because we all know the kind of situation we are going through. I'm talking about pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? So we try to hold the person. Okay, don't worry. I know my state of mind is different, but definitely, okay, we will pass through. Right? So it's a lot we learned being as in empathizing with others too, right? So definitely, like HR learned a lot, like Chhavi said, because day to day we always say, okay, hey, how big the problem is when we get up on COVID time, right? So and definitely it is changed, especially post that, because now we all care for people, we all worry for them. Okay, hey, but I feel changes happen for everybody good. And the second is also like in the joining time, I also have a experience. One of the girl, she lost her father, and she wanted to take a leave, but her joining date is next day. She was asking for an extension with that reason, and she feel okay. Hey, I may go for a different offer because of that. I'm negotiating, but in spite of that, we send a gesture to her condolence, which is very sad because the reason was very, very, very close to our heart, and we felt sorry for her loss. So that has made her life change. Obviously, like she's not thought about any other company, and she is publishing LinkedIn saying, "Okay, hey, I lost my father. I had a downtime, and I'm worried my new company whether will they believe me or not." But in spite of it, they extended to me the joining date as well as they sent the gesture about my family loss. Right. So that, I mean, I never thought, okay, I will know this personal about candidate, right? So it is only happened because I got an opportunity to do that,
Okay.
right? So I don't know whether are we this close pre-COVID. I doubt. I
Yes.
doubt. Maybe I don't know. But now I think we all care for humans. That's okay. You may choose to not join us,
Mhm.
but I think I like this, and I'm sure a lot to learn on from here.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. So, Aniket, your thoughts on this, on empathy being becoming the crucial factor?
Yeah, I think so. I'll put it in one statement.
Mm.
COVID brought human back to human resources, right? We were all pre-COVID, we're all talking about performance, efficiency, automation. How do I vet 100 resumes in 2 minutes? How do I get everything right? So it had lost a lot of human value to it, right? And I think so. The adversity with COVID and it was bad, but I think so. The only positive that I can see is people start feeling more connected, right? They brought the human aspect back to our roles. Um, since Chhavi and Thangaraj have already spoken about during the offer questions, I'll go further in the life cycle of an employee, right? So one thing changed at my ex company at Simplilearn was um, we had always had to connect with the CEO in terms of what's happening on an HR format, or what's happening on talent acquisition, what's happening on iteration, engagement, initiatives, etc., right, program management, etc. What we did is during that format, right, we also introduced a new tab during the COVID days. We kind of looked at how many of our employees were hospitalized or their family members were hospitalized. What is the support that we could give them? We were additionally tracking from our side, any support that we can give them, oxygen cylinders, medicines. We kind of tried and looked at internally, asked people if they have any COVID medicines left over that can be passed on to somebody else in the epic need, right? So all of those initiatives, which probably would have been lost if it was not that adverse, is I think so that brought back the human factor to us, right? So yes, COVID has taught of very important values that you have to be empathetic to others. You have to be empathetic to yourself, your family, and the company that you work with, right? So it is empathetic towards you all spheres of life that way. So yeah, I think so you're mute.
Yeah, so we can move on to the next question. So, Aniket, what is the future which you see of candidate experience? Like, in a few words, what do you think is the future of candidate experience?
Yeah, I think so. Talent acquisition and recruitment has moved away from being a company first approach to a candidate first approach now, right? It is no longer only companies interviewing candidates. It's more like candidates also interviewing companies right now. Which is a good company for me? Which opportunity is the best opportunity for me, right? So I think so you need to change with that times as well. So candidate experience becomes, I think so the first thing, everything goes behind candidate experience becomes the primary aspect, right? So you have to build your process, evaluation matrices, your communications from a candidate perspective more rather than a company perspective, right? So that's where we are heading towards, and a lot of aspects are revolving around that, right? How more proactive are you in communication to candidate? How more proactive, as we discussed, the interview tips that we can give it to them, the insights that we can give them in terms of evaluation process that we want to have them. How more insights can we give them about the company, the culture, the team that they are being part of, the vision and mission that they're going up, that we talked about in the initial part of storytelling aspect, right? So I think so that's all gearing up us towards a candidate first approach. And like Thanga had put it, right, candidates have now become customers for us, right? Which is now a customer first approach. So I think so that's where we are headed. And in the future scenario will be more like a candidate savvy, right? So that's how it's going to be. We've seen snippets of it in the past as well, but I think so now is the time that it is just come to the fore.
Okay. So, what are the thoughts on this, Chhavi? So, on the future of candidate experience, and what are your thoughts on
Right.
where will it head to?
I think the future of candidate experience is very bright, versatile, lots of options. Like Aniket mentioned, it's almost like a candidate's market right now. I don't think we are the ones who are able to put forward those sort of conditions which we used to like years ago. So it looks very bright, but then at the same time, it has its own challenges because while candidates have a lot of opportunities available, they choices are not always easy. So
Exactly.
for employers, the opportunity and the challenge lies in how they convince these people to make them relate to the vision, the story that we are building, the teams that we are building, and then at the same time also be empathetic about the fact that most of these people now would like to work from a setup that they are comfortable with. So either companies are moving to remote first, or they are providing hybrid options. So I think from all of those perspectives, the whole scenario looks like there are many things that can be done. Candidates have proven over time that they can work from wherever you want them to, and they are highly adaptable. So as employers, we also need to be really responsive to all of these meta changes that they are happening in the industry right now, and accordingly offer them something which is custom built and very friendly, so that they find it easier to join and accept the offers. And yeah.
Great. Thank you, Chavi. So, Thangaraj, any thoughts on the future of candidate experience? What are your thoughts on this?
I see already it is started. So there are organizations already having a team of the function they've created called candidate engagement team.
Okay.
Right. So and already there are titles are started as a candidate engagement specialist. Right. So I'm sure because every function when you detail out, it gets the value for the right people. So I think I again come back. To me, I treat candidate as a customer because I see recruitment as a sales, right? So definitely, organizations are adopting to this already, and this is going to make a revolution, to my understanding, for sure, because we all realize the talent is going to bring everything possible, right? So hence I'm visioning, maybe I'm little forward, or maybe I'm thinking loud. I may feel we will get to see the future title as chief candidate executive, engagement executive, who could be equal to CEO. CCEO is something, this title I see the future, because it is all about candidate, it's all about talent, right? So if you have the right talent, you build $1 billion, you build more than that. It's possible. That's how it should be. I know a little loud, but I'm very passionate about building organizations. So that's how it should be. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Chavi, last 1 minute. Any tips and like techniques for you want to like showcase to the junior guys or the junior people out here? So, anything from your side? So you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry, and I'm so sorry for rushing in like that, because I do have a hard stop at 8:30. I have another meeting, but then I think one of the things that I would say all the people who are starting recently into HR space and building their careers, to be original. While they can follow whatever we are talking as people who have like few years of experience under their belt, but they need to come up with ideas and thoughts, and I think that's how we all learn from each other. So they need to be original, authentic to what they are doing. So whatever they feel like is more applicable to their candidate or the people that they're working with, they should definitely look into it. The only advice that I would have is like the programs that they're working on, or the organizations that they've have partnered with, they should really look into their vision. They should really look into what they are as a company, and then build all of these programs around it. And then they will find the success in not only attracting the candidates, but retaining the people that there are in the organization. So I think these are the only few things I have to offer. And then again, probably empathy is one of the things that I would add on to. Being empathetic to their role, to the people that they're working with. I think that'll help them a lot.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you,
Sorry
Chhavi.
for the rush at this moment, but thanks everyone. I was just about to type that message. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for time.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, so I would like to come to Thangaraj on this. What are your thoughts on this? Like maybe you can share some tips for our junior TA and HR people who are out there listening to this conversation or will listen to this conversation on how to effectively pitch an onboard candidate. So, as you told that candidate uh, is a sales process. Onboarding candidate is a sales process. So what are your thoughts, and what are the some techniques which they can use?
Yeah, I think so. How you basically onboard customers? I think I just replicate the same here because uh, uh, especially when you talk to a senior person, being a recruitment, yeah, I think it's applicable for us.
Hmm.
Hey, what are we trying to have an opportunity with us? Is that get aligned with the senior leaders whom you're talking, irrespective of senior leaders or anybody? Because sometimes you detail out because if you make a first call to be impressive, then that person is not going anywhere. Or you make that person remembering you. So what you can do is little more detail out, right? So why would that person come to you, or why would you feel the person is looking for a job which is suitable for you, right? So you will have your own analysis, right, with your SMEs, with your knowledge, so
Hmm.
justify that, right? So and be very transparent to that candidate, right? So
Hmm.
be candid with the candidate, right? So like, right? So always, for example, LeadSquared, we as a company, uh, leaders and founders are very clear. Okay, hey, we need people who can build a company, right? So
Hmm.
right, so that's a strong belief in us, right? So we want to take this company to next level, right? So we are not going to do anything sustenance, right? So that's the beliefness the leader has it, right? That's the reason
Yeah.
we are still growing, right? So the growth is pretty rapid. So be very transparent being a recruitment person when you talk to the senior person. Ensure that they are aligned in terms of like what you are looking after, right? So then you detail it out, be very transparent what you have it, what you don't have it. It's okay. There are certain things you may have it which will be liked by the candidate, may not be liked by the candidate. Be very, very candid,
Okay.
right? So it's good that so that people appreciate the fact it's okay. We can have good conversation, but it's need not. We should be working together. But
Hmm.
definitely trust me, a person saying no to you, be thankful to them, understand them. They are the one who's going to come back to you. So that's my again I repeat it, right? So treat as a sales contact is lifetime,
Great.
right? So that's what it is from my side, and thank you so much for
Yeah, we have
hosting
some
the
Q
conversation.
and A from the audience, but before that, I would like to go upon Aniket. Aniket, you have been like working with very large companies and very high growth startups, enterprises, and unicorns. So, what are your thoughts and what are your techniques you have been pitching? Like you have followed, or you might have seen that works for our audience who are there, like who might be not use that or might be new to this industry. So, yeah, your thoughts on this.
Sure. I think so. A lot of times, right, as a recruiter, we kind of focus a lot about, picturing ourselves through jargons, how we are very empathetic, we are very great cultural transparency,
Yeah.
data driven. But I think so, because these are words and these are not examples or these are not citations that most candidates would be able to fall back on, right? And so the best way to do this would be for any recruiter who's going to start out or is in the journey of moving to leadership recruitment is build in-house case studies around it, right? So for example, with Porter,
Hmm.
empathy, right? That's our core value. Now, how did we translate that? Is and we all know it, right? During COVID times, most companies were laying off, or there was salary cuts, etc. Right? And Porter was no different. There was definitely a lull in the business. So what they did is there was a 20% reduction from the management side salary, so that everybody at the junior level didn't have to take a salary cut or didn't have to lose their jobs. Right? The
Okay.
management showed empathy towards somebody else's responsibility. Right now, that's living the core value. right? Same goes for curiosity. Curiosity is another core value for us, right? How curious, how efficiently are you not only doing your job but understanding the other aspects and kind of going beyond and contributing to other problem statements that you've identified, right? And it's always it's not blockers, it is problem statements, right? Sometimes you say that it's a blocker for me to do and complete this task because XYZ team or XYZ person didn't help me. But that's an opportunity. How did you collaborate? How did you very curious to understand what it is, right? So I think so when you're able to build actual examples for all of those great things that you have to say about your company or culture, I think so that brings genuineness, trustworthiness, and transparency there, right? That's going to help you build relationship with candidates and take them to the next forward. So I think so that's something that as a recruiter we should focus a lot on.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining. So I have a couple. So we have run out of time, but I have a couple of questions from the audience. Maybe I will answer, call them out, and you guys can take one. Each one can take one couple of questions. So Rana is from Walmart. So he asked that. What are the three things which you follow when onboarding a senior candidate? So maybe Thangaraj or Aniket, anyone can take. What are the three things which you follow for onboarding a very senior candidate?
Do you want to go ahead, Thanga?
I'm okay. You want to proceed or you want me to talk about it?
Either way, okay, I'll take that. So I think so when you're onboarding senior leadership, right? The three core important things that I have seen in the past, or I've seen successful companies do that is first get them aligned to the larger picture and vision of an org, right? So get them aligned to an org level vision. B, get them aligned to a problem statement that this role is going to solve that, right? Then give them the resources that is required. Then give them the induction in terms of business functions and all of that. But more to do with how do you go out and tell them that hey, this is now your baby. You go and run with it, right? I think so that handover, right? I think so that's very important, right? So you kind of empower them, make them responsible, give them the context, and then tell them, hey, this is your baby. So that you're not doing a lot of day-to-day interventions there, right? This person, you brought in this person to do that for you. So that's very important there. And I think the final aspect to kind of look at that is give them the required resources, but let's if there is a requirement to relook at things, right? Let's be open about it as well, because sometimes it just doesn't work out the way we had thought it will, right? And especially in 0 to 1 or 1 to 100, when you're moving really fast, right? There are so many experiments that you're going to do at that leadership level. Some will fail, some will fly through. So you should be able to kind of flexible and change, and let that person also be flexible and change. I think those are the key things when you're bringing somebody in their initial months, to let them do that. And if you're able to do that, I think so you and the leader in the company is able to adjust to that very well.
Great. Thank you, Aniket. Hopefully Rana has got the answer. So one question came over email. This is regarding it's for Thangaraj. You can take this question if you can. Is about how can leadership be involved in the candidate engagement scenario? We have seen that he has asked that the leaders have been quite an influence with their personal stories and how they build their own companies. So how can they be involved, and how do you see leadership getting involved? So Thangaraj, you can answer, and then Aniket, maybe you can also put on your 2 cents. Yeah, over to you.
So actually, that's a good question. Candidate engagement, definitely everybody wants to listen to the success story, right? So, okay, how did you build? How did you make it happen, right? So, obviously, I think that's a driving factor for now most of the startup, because people believe, okay, hey, if one could do, why can't, right? So, and I think that's also reasons India being we have got many startups. So to immediately to answer this, get into that leadership in the candidate engagement, ensure that every candidate comes with one part of the function, right? So, and that part definitely any leader should be aware about it, right? So ask them to be explaining the vision of that particular part, right? So, or that particular segment the individual is going to work around, right? So they'll give the big picture of it. That who can able to tell apart from the leaders, right? Right. So if the leader talks about it because they are the one who made the company, or they are the one who made it happen. So obviously, like anybody gets the larger view, or anybody gets the larger vision of the problem, people will be excited. So I think that is very much qualitative. That's important, I feel. And many of the time it has happened to LeadSquared, because that's the only reason I have told, okay, hey, we follow the culture of co-worker to co-founder, right? So the leaders are always involved in engagement of the candidates. So that's the reason we are making a difference, right? So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Thangaraj. Aniket, you want to add to this on this question? How can leadership be involved in the candidate engagement scenario? Maybe not directly, or maybe with the thoughts and other stories here.
Yeah, I think so. It again, obviously, it depends in terms of what level are we talking about for the candidates to onboard it, right? Sometimes leadership will be directly involved if somebody -1 or -2 is joining, right?
Yeah.
But under them, I think so it's -1 and -2 one stop. Again, that becomes a leadership for that function to be involved there, right? And I'm going to quote an example of one of the leaders that I worked with, a brilliant mind. So for most companies, offer drops is an issue with talent acquisition, right? But for that leader, offer drop was an issue with the hiring manager as well. So it was co-owned. TA was not in a silo owning offer drops or engagement. Hiring manager was equally important, and because hiring manager was equally responsible for it, they themselves were able to build that relationship and able to take it forward as well, right? Which the TAs may not be able to, right? So that's very important that it is co-owned by all your partners, hiring partner, HR business partner, your onboarding partner team, and TAs. That's when you get a full-fledged, smooth experience. And when all the cogs in the machinery are working well, I think so the output is going to be really well, right? So that's very important, that you identify bits and pockets of responsibility and let the other persons also be responsible for it, rather than TAs solely owning it, because again, it's not going to be giving the right impact that it should.
Exactly. Great. So great insights, Aniket, Thangaraj, and Chhavi was there. With that, we come to the close of the roundtable. We have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions from a user, from our emails, and from our live sessions. We'll be getting a lot of questions over our next few sessions also. Maybe I can forward you the questions, and you can jot them down and we will send it across. But thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for taking your time out. We have overshot your time, and it was very lovely to talk to you, listen to your insight, listen to your experiences, and thank you so much for joining in. And have a great evening, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much for giving the opportunity to talk, and it was actually pleasant, having a discussion with you, Aniket and Chhavi, and it was good questions. And Rana, thank you so much for your question. I wish you got an answer from Aniket. He could able to answer you. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to talk to me or Aniket or Chhavi. I'm sure we are open to have a discussion. Also, I'm sure I'm also trying to say, okay, hey, if you have any questions related to opportunities with LeadSquared, feel free to talk to us. We are making a difference in SaaS industry, and we're the leaders in the CRM. Definitely, you wish to talk about any opportunities, I'm sure you get a response from me. Kindly chat with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Thangaraj. Aniket, your closing thoughts?
Yes, I think so. This was a wonderful forum to connect with all of you all, share insights, share experiences, and I'm sure the viewers also would have enjoyed it. As Naga mentioned, feel free to reach out to us anytime if you have anything that you wanted to kind of discuss on, any questions that you want to do. I'm just LinkedIn ping away. I'm usually very active on LinkedIn, so you can always reach out to me there. And yeah, I mean, thank you for having us here.
Sure. Thank you so much for taking your time out. Thank you. Have a great evening, and thank you guys for joining in on our discussion. Thank you to all our users who have tuned in. Thank you so much. Take care. Have fun, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.